Well, let's go into 1994 for The Crow. Summary for this film: a man brutally murdered comes back to life as an undead avenger of his and his fiancee's murder. Directed by Alex Proyas, who
One
did
hell of a soundtrack.
Dark City and iRobot. Written by David J. Shaw, who wrote so many great things: Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, Critters 3 and 4, The Hills Run Red, a bunch of other cool shit. Also, John Shirley, renowned cyberpunk author and television writer, who did a lot of cool cartoon work. He also helped Blue Oyster Cult write a few songs. Really, you should check him out. But it's based on a James O'Barr comic book series. Jason, do you have any information?
Tagline: Believe in Angels. Distributed by Miramax and out on Blu-ray through Miramax. They just released it again in 2020. I don't know what, if anything, has been upgraded or special features or not, but it's out there.
There is a ton of trivia available for this movie, but you know, and of course, this is legendarily the movie that what's his name?
Brandon Lee.
There
Brandon
you go.
Lee.
Lost his life. Terrible.
Jeez, Frank.
Jeez.
Sorry, man.
Like, what the fuck?
Peace,
I didn't write it down.
Yeah.
There is a ton of trivia on this. The one thing that I made note of was that when they originally came to James O'Barr to make this movie, they wanted to make it a Michael Jackson musical.
Yeah.
And I can't even fucking imagine that.
You mean as like Michael Jackson as a crow?
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh
Come
man.
I mean, if it would have
Come
been
on,
close
Crow.
to the Thriller, like, I'd be down for that. But
I just might do a parody.
I'm the
funny as
crow.
hell.
The crow, you know.
Come on.
I was dead. But now I'm back. I don't know. I do think this movie would have looked better in black and white. They originally intended for it to look more like the comics. I think that would have worked a lot better. The sound. This is one of those cases where I think the soundtrack is better than the movie. That's just kind of my opinion. I listened to both this soundtrack and the City of Angels soundtrack more than I've ever watched the movie. I've seen this. I used to own this on VHS, but I still put that shit in rotation. It's good songs. But this is basically a very flawed superhero movie for gothic folks who traditionally wouldn't like a superhero movie. The main flaw that I see is that Eric Draven is able to be affected by physical attacks. He's a fucking ghost, right? Or is he a zombie? Ghost zombie? He shouldn't be stunned by anything that hits him. He should just barrel through. But whatever.
well, he wasn't, right, until the
The
crow
dude
dies.
hits him with a pipe, and he's like, "Oh!" But he can jump off a fucking building, swan dive into a fucking dumpster, and be like, "Ha ha!"
He knocked the wind out of him.
What wind?
Well,
gonna
maybe
make a
he was just
noise.
trolling him, pretending to be
Motherfucker,
hurt.
don't breathe. What
No,
wind's
he's
knocked out of him, John?
He's alive for right now. He's not like a zombie. He's like a revenant.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. Ernie Hudson is the best part of this movie. I'll say it right there. It's my favorite role of his outside of Ghostbusters. And another thing, ravens are not crows. They're not the same thing. So when he comes in with this,
Suddenly, I heard a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door.
it's not a crow. It's not. It's a raven. They're not the same fucking thing. I don't know.
He was just doing it to be creepy.
Yeah, I understand. But you know, if we let him go this far, later on down the road, he's going to be making blackbird limericks. He's going to be really just going off base. He's the crow. He needs to stay
Quote
on
the crow,
theme.
never mow.
I think that Tony Todd should be the main bad guy in this movie.
That would've been cool.
He looks like a bad motherfucker. He looks like he's in charge. He carries himself like he's a leader. He's dressed like a kingpin. The main guy looks like a pirate, a vampire pirate. But Tony Todd's got his shit together. I do like the main antagonist. He does large amounts of cocaine off of a golden platter. That he carries around a katana. He somehow built a business centered around arson. I don't understand his business model, but I'd like to see some graphs and shit. I need a PowerPoint presentation of how this crime syndicate works, because he's like, we need to start
a Zoom meeting.
We need to start some fires. It's like, we need to make some money. How? By doing what? Pillaging, I guess. It was very inventive when Eric. I'm not gonna call him the Crow. I don't. You can't expect me to do that. When he makes the morphine come out of Sarah's mom's veins, very cool.
Very cool.
And I do want to say rest in peace to Brandon Lee, but I'll be honest. I think that if we would have just,
that should never fall. That should never.
I just want to say that. Once he passed away, I don't know how they did it. I don't know when he died in the making of this, because they did seamless work to make the movie. You can't tell that he was missing at any point, but they could have put Sting in there, and I think he would have worked out just as well. Because I don't know if you remember those WCW days. Same quality acting. That's all I'm gonna say. In fact, you could probably put the Undertaker in there, and it'd be just as good a movie. You know what I'm saying?
Not at all.
That's my hot take.
I'm waiting for the rating on this one.
It is hilarious that Ernie Hudson never once questions the supernatural nature of the vendetta murders that are happening all around him. He's just like, right off the bat, oh, it's that dead dude. That's who it is. He never once goes, wait, like when he meets him, he's not like, so you're a ghost or you're a zombie? What are you? He never once establishes that. Doesn't care. He just buys into it. He's kind of laid back. Just a good cop. You don't see those a lot. This is my favorite John Polito film as well. He's a great character actor. I mean, he plays the pawn shop owner Gideon, but you've seen him in something. This is one of the more meaty parts that he's had. He has the best kill scene in the movie with a katana going straight through his neck. Really cool. Just probably my favorite scene in the movie. I think the hot dog stand that they frequent in this movie would 100% give you diarrhea. The hot dogs would give you the shits. And for sure those pickled eggs, and it just bothered me in general, especially when the little girl's got the cat sitting right on the counter where he slides hot dogs across all day. Get it together, hot dog stand. We can't have this. Does the health inspector not show up? This is one of the few comic book movies I like. I'm not a big comic book guy. I like this. I like Sin City. I like Spawn. A lot of people hate that. And I like
that was a fun movie. I
like the first 4 Batman movies. Those are the ones I like. Even the shitty ones that everybody says this are terrible. Those are the ones I like. I just like the stylized revenge shit. Really, I think the stunts. There's only a few parts where I think the stunts look like a stunt show. Like when he's on the roof and stuff, it looks like it's on a sound stage, and it looks like a stunt, like a stunt show you'd pay to see at like fucking Universal Studios or something. But I wish they hadn't. I wish they hadn't made him a musician. Honestly, I thought it was lame. When he smashes the guitar, it was pointless. His band sucked.
You keep saying you like this movie, right?
I want to not like it. I gave it an 8 out of 10, but I want to not like it because I think it was forced on us a lot back in the 90s. Like everybody's like, The Crow, man. Have you seen The Crow?
That's funny you say that. It's funny you say
a cultural icon.
It'd be a nice transition into my review here. This is the first time I've watched this movie.
Oh yeah.
I know I caught parts of this playing out at Palmer's or whatnot. Like I just never had any interest in this movie at all. Like I was more interested in the fact that somehow someone got murdered. But I never had no interest in this music or this movie. But it's shot really well. Cinematography is on point. It has a very cool look and feel to it. I could definitely see it. Like you mentioned black and white. I could see it looking just like Sin City, like they did with that. I mean, it kind of does. It's very, very black and gray, really. It just kind of feels like a darker, sleazy rock and roll Batman movie.
And the bad guys are the worst. Like they're the baddest villains you can do. They're in all the things. They're in drugs. They're in fires. They're in stealing. They're in rape. They are in rape.
Bad at being bad.
And the one dude says this.
I feel like a little worm on a big fucking hook.
That's my favorite line. But anyways, Jason, continue.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's just not really my thing. Like I wouldn't even. This is one you could say is horror adjacent, but it's not a horror movie to me. It's more an adventure superhero. But it's good. It's solid. I give it a 6.
All right, so I'm like at the other end of the spectrum. I saw this when I was a kid. I loved it. I was aware of the comic, but I didn't read it. I saw the movie first. Soundtrack was killer. I never owned it until much, much later, but I did like the music in this. A very good story. I thought, it was the early 90s. The style of it, I like how they shot it. I believe they shot it in like neutral tones, and then they like made it even darker than that. You know what I mean? That's why it looks so extra grimy. So I like the look of the film is awesome. And I know you said about the sound stage and stuff. I feel like I kind of liked that. Like it was weird and out of place, but it just worked for me for some reason.
At times it almost looked like a play or a musical, like something.
Yeah.
Like it was a production.
Yeah. And I was totally okay with that. Did you guys watch this on streaming, or do you own it, or?
No, I streamed
I paid for this. I rented this on Amazon.
All right. So like I bought
a dusty copy sitting in the back.
Yeah, I watched it on the like big Miramax double disc set from like what 03 or whatever, or maybe earlier than that. There were some cool deleted scenes in it that went much more into the comic, or well, more extended scenes. But there was like in the comic, I don't know if you guys read it, there was like this ghost cowboy who was kind of like his guide. There was a real in-depth way of him getting to do his thing, kind of learning about what he was, from this ghost cowboy.
A ghost cowboy. I can't picture
like a dead cowboy. That's what they called him. That's what they
Kind of
called him.
sounds like a song or something like that.
Throw a cowboy.
Well, no, it was like, I think I want to say, I can't remember. It was like
alpaca.
It was a skeleton.
Well, that would work
Dressed up
even
as a
fucking better
cowboy,
for a
like,
musical. You could have the cowboy and the crow.
There we go.
You could just you can go back and forth. It'd be great. Michael Jackson.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to do a parody now.
Who would his sidekick be? It'd be Michael Jackson and Rick James. What would it have been?
So the point, watching the special features on that set, the point where he died sequentially, but they don't shoot it sequentially. The dude that played Fun Boy, it was his gun that went off. And it was during one of the flashbacks of the break-in before they died. He came in with the groceries and he just shoots them. Right. They describe it. It's like the wadding or dummy bullet or whatever it was went through the bag and like right into him. You know what I mean? Like they saw it happen. It was crazy. But I liked Brandon Lee in this. This was like, out of his movies, this is really the only one I like. I didn't think he was a great actor, but he crushed it in this movie. I thought the The Crow is nuts in the comic. He's a fucking psycho lunatic. He shoots up, he does his drugs, fucking goes crazy, carves himself up. Like he's a loon, man. Like he's hardcore. So I mean, they could only do so much in this movie, you know, in the early 90s. But yeah, this was a favorite from when I was a kid. Oh man, forgot the dude that played T-Bird. David Patrick Kelly. He was the bad guy in Dreamscape, and the cling cling warriors. Yep. That dude, man, he was born to play a bad guy. I will watch anything he plays a bad guy in. He's awesome. Like he was really good. All the bad guys were sweet.
The bad guys,
like they were grimy as fuck. Like they were really good. And there was nothing important about the comic that had to follow those characters specifically. You know what I'm saying? It's not. They were just like insert bad, like the baddest bad guy here. You know, so I just a lot of it doesn't hold up. I'm not gonna lie. The visuals are like, the ones that are, it's early 90s CG. What can you do?
The pans over the city are the main problems, I think. Like when they're it's like a screensaver or something.
Yeah. But I give this a 9. I give this a 9 out of 10. It's kind of like a piece of childhood. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was a cool. I went as a fat crow for the Halloween. Not all. I didn't have the skin tight shit. I just had like an overcoat. I was basically Sting, but not Sting wasn't Sting yet. The crow Sting. I mean,
I would have loved to see that.
I don't think that exists. I don't think there's a
all the time.
Rob,
what are your thoughts?
I really dug the movie. A lot of really good action sequences, and it was also very emotional. It's like in every scene, the direction got you to feel for the characters, and of course the villains were top notch. I say only movie I could think of that would have villains comparable would be RoboCop. They were equally as heinous as the RoboCop villains, and it was I think it kind of brought a lot of impact to the movie, the fact that Brandon Lee actually, passed away in the film, because, it's like when the movie ends, it's kind of like, you can't go back to the thing like, well, at least he didn't really die for real, it kind of adds a little more tragedy to the movie, and it's also one of the first films to actually to use CGI to replace an actor. At least that's the first time I ever heard of it happening, because there was a couple of scenes. I think it was a scene where he was like jumping from one building to another or something like that. Mm-hmm. But it was an actual CGI effect.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. It looked good for the time because early CGI. You can.
I didn't pick up on anything.
No, I was looking for it.
I wasn't looking for it. I didn't know they did it in CG.
But they must have got most of it. They must have got most of it in the bag, though. I think.
Like a double. I was looking for a double to pick out who wasn't Brandon Lee in.
I think all the principal stuff was shot. Yeah. But anytime you don't see his face clearly, it's more or less a double. Like in the scene with him and Sarah, she, getting ready to leave, and he's like, Sarah, I do care. You never see his face. That was a double. So, like it's one of those things. And I just remember, have you ever seen, what was Bruce Lee's last movie? Game of Death. You ever seen that? Did you see what they did
with Bruce Lee movie?
I've seen a couple,
maybe
but not that
maybe
one.
Enter the Dragon. That's Bruce Lee, right?
Yeah.
Enter the Dragon.
So,
I think I've seen that.
So he died during the filming of that, right? They took cutouts of his face, like static cutouts, and pasted them over the actor doing the scene.
Wow.
It was nuts. It was so weird. Like from like action sequences, there wasn't much they could do, but like close-ups and stuff, it was like not the whole movie, obviously. It wasn't a cutout.
I haven't watched the movie, so I know
They
that.
had to do.
horrible.
They had a look-alike, but for like certain shots, they did a cutout of his face
Nice.
to fill it in. But it was so like Jaws 3D noticeable. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I'm really gonna have to rewatch that movie now.
yeah. Oh,
Wow.
it was crazy.
You give it a rating, Rob?
Yeah, I'd give that movie a solid 9. It was solid entertainment for me from beginning to end.